And she's been consuming ever since because I was able to show her it's not what they built it up to be.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's got so many medical purposes. Like, it's sad to me that they try to can as much as they do on how medical appropriate it is for a lot of situations. Not just not just the growing side, but like consumption. I'm not saying that smoking is the best way to go. Obviously, when I take it, I prefer to do edibles most of the time because I get more results. I get better results as far as pain management goes and inflammation, and dealing with things that I've dealt with from the time in the service and things like that. So like, it's so crazy to me that it's looked so down upon by everybody for so damn long. Like, it drives me insane.
Do you microdose it then, or do you like eat edibles as and when?
Well, I mean, I smoke. Don't get me wrong. I love terpene profiles. I thoroughly enjoy smoking doobies because I get a full flavor. But if I'm actually like, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I like a bit of both. I've been microdosing lately with mushroom and THC infused honey, which sort of like holds that sort of like the pain threshold and stuff. It just keeps it at bay throughout the day. It's it puts you in a nice uplifted mood throughout the day. Yeah, I just wondered if you tried something like that.
Well, truth be told, psilocybin and things like that aren't available here yet in terms of legality, but it's definitely something that I've been all my kids, like my older kids, obviously they've all suggested it. Even my wife said something about it, and it's something that I'm gonna definitely get into. I just saw today that I guess, and I'm not getting into politics, so don't take it that way, but I guess Trump just signed something about being able to have VA use some things for psychedelic dosing. That way they can treat PTSD and things like that, which I'm excited about.
I actually watched the press conference earlier, and basically what he was saying is that that he signed the executive order for vets and civilians alike. They mainly spoke on Ibogaine. They had Joe Rogan behind him, and he's big on psychedelics and the healing side of it. And trying to make it VA available and all that. Which, like I said, I'm not into politics either. But that's a step in the right direction. Any progress is good progress.
100% agree. Like, I would love to try microdosing just to see if it would help me with like my issues with the public and dealing with conversations. Like, I get criticized a lot in my videos because they're like, bro, you sound baked and like totally trash. I have to slow my mind down to wrap myself around what I'm trying to get across, or I come out mumble jumble with crap and nobody's gonna understand a word I'm trying to say. And when I do my videos, I usually smoke before I do it, but that's because it chills me out enough that I can slow myself down and actually get the words out that I want to do.
And see, that's what
I hate being hate it.
I was explaining the room just a little bit ago before we started the live. I actually tried my first microdose the other day, and it was the Acras that I got from a friend, and I actually enjoyed it. I sat there, like I said, it was my very first time trying any mushrooms or anything, and it come on kind of heavy at first, but then it was okay. And my wife sat there and found this visual thing on YouTube, and it's like really bright colors, and it's the forest and whatnot, and it was really creepy. It was kind of cool. He was like, okay, do you want to watch Avatar? So I'm like, yeah, we can watch Avatar: Way of the Water. That was awesome. But the come down, like, it's hard to explain, when I was coming down, I've never felt more at peace in my life. Like everything was okay. I didn't have anything to worry about. I didn't have anything to stress about because I had personal questions that I wanted answers to, and I didn't voice them to anybody else. I'm sure y'all know how that is. And
Yeah.
as I was sitting there watching Avatar, I was also thinking at the same time. And believe it or not, it actually showed me a different avenue of how to approach my question to get the answer that I needed. I know that sounds kind of weird, but for a first time, I thought it was pretty cool.
Well, that's the great thing about psilocybin is that it allows you to see things from a different perspective, which is why treatment for PTSD and stuff like that is the results that are coming through are amazing because it actually gives you the ability to be able to rewire your processing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which is awesome. I mean, that's part of why I think like I've tried to focus on the vet side of things, obviously with the channel and touching like other veterans so they can kind of like see that you don't have to take medication, right? You can find different alternatives to dealing with the same shit that you're going through on a regular basis. And then I realized that there's more people out there than just vets that go through the same shit. If you can find a way to open your mind up, and if that involves microdosing and the therapy of growing cannabis and finding a safe space that you feel comfortable with, that's priceless to me. And I think that that's why I'm so adamant about the Grow channel and trying to get people to see that side of stuff. Because, like, I don't know, I wrote the music before and made the music, but I never like dropped the album. So my previous album, there's a couple songs on there. Veteran Grown is huge to me because I'm in my tent, I'm in my grow space, I am alone, but I'm able to sort through all of my emotions and feelings, even from the day things of like my mom passing away, which I was a huge mama's boy. Everybody that knows me knows that. I had her my entire life. My dad wasn't in the picture. Like when I lost her, it devastated me. But I've learned throughout this time and not having her here physically that, you know, she's still rolling with me, showing me shit throughout the way. But like, if you can find that peace of mind, whether it's microdosing or growing in your garden and taking that time for yourself to find that inner calm, that's really what it's all about.
I couldn't agree more.
Finding that different perspective. You know what I mean?
On your last album, that Seed to a Queen,
yeah,
say it in a tent. That hits so hard because I think I started microdosing for myself to get better. I started growing shrooms for that reason, smoking weed and what have you. But that actual inner peace that I found wasn't until I actually got my tent, had it all set up, and you can start seeing the process. That peace that you get from within it is incredible.
And then the pride that you have of being able to grow your own on whatever it may be, whether it be cannabis or vegetables or mushrooms or whatever, you take pride in whatever you produce.
It also,
and I mean,
results you get from it, I think, knowing that it's yours. No, and I think it looks after you in that sense as well, because it is you that helped it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, like we do adult sharing, so I hook my kids up, obviously that are of age, and like I share with friends, and like that, the feedback I get from people being happy about A, having it, B, the benefits of it, like that's my, I guess you call it love language. Like I put a lot of time and energy and effort into my grow, and I fruited it. You collect it. It's no different than a produce. You just, you know, I'm helping other people, which I love. Like, and I don't know. Like, I just wish the whole world would realize that you can find that with that kind of situation, whether it's like you said, whatever you're growing, shrooms, plants, I mean, veggies, your own garden out back. I mean, whatever it is, like it's insane.
Yeah, even like when I'm working with my bees and stuff, obviously you get the honey out of it. Honey tastes so much better. Everything you do is the love that you put into it.
Yep, 100%. You know, it's amazing the studies that they've done on that. It's been insane. My wife sends me stuff all the time. They've actually done studies to like study the electrodes of your plants when you leave the house and when you get home, and they actually react up to like 2.5 kilometers away. So it's almost like having a dog or a pet at the house, and they know when you're coming home. Like,
there was also stuff done where you could play music in your tent, and depending on what style of music that you play, like if you play something upbeat and happy, then the plants react to it. If they play something like hard rock or screamo or something like that, then they droop a little. Like they actually show signs of it.
Yes, 100%. And I know the vibe you give off to your plants in your garden, it is a legitimate thing, because when I was going through the shit I was going through when my mom passed, and that following year, if you go back and look at my channel, you can see the grows. I stopped giving a shit because I really didn't care about much anything, and I was lost in my own BS. So like you can look at the Granddaddy Purple. Like, I don't know if you've seen that video. That, like, I couldn't keep that shit alive to save my life. Like, it was a rough grow. I had some autoflowers that I just really didn't care about. I watered them whenever. I mean, like, it definitely makes a difference. Like the amount of love and effort you put into it, and they can definitely feel your vibe as like a general essence.
And see, one thing I like about your channel, like I've watched probably 10 or 12 content creators, and like I'm not gonna name drop anybody, but they all show just the good. You don't see any bad, any struggles or anything like that. Like in yours, you're kind of like me. You show the good, the bad, and the ugly, because nobody's gonna learn if all they see is the. If you see, a deficiency pop up, go ahead and address it and correct it and so on and so forth. But like I said, the bigger name content creators, all they show is the good. I mean, they go through and tell you, okay, do this, and do this, but they're not hands-on with it like you are. You're like, okay, it needs phosphorus or it needs magnesium or calcium or whatever. You break it down. That way a new grower can understand the situation and how to approach it.
Well, yeah, and I feel like if you've been growing for quite some time, like, okay, a little hinder here. I used to grow when I was really young. Obviously, it was illegal then. I don't really care. But like in the Midwest, I used to grow outdoor. I learned from who I call my uncle. He was a great dude. He came from Humboldt County, and like he knew his shit. So like, of course, I soaked it in. And like I kind of applied that to the indoor, though. I had a bunch of change ups and switches. I'm used to really rich black dirt soil that's full of nutrients because it's from the Midwest. You can grow anything there. And going to indoor, yeah, you can run soil like normal living soil. But that shit takes a lot of prep work, which I don't have time for most of the time. So I shifted out to the Pro Mix and running in cocoa because it seemed easier for me, and made my own blends and stuff throughout the years here. And I feel like if most people that are dealing with indoor grows are going to go that route to avoid bugs, and if you're dealing with problems and you're trying to help people grow and learn how to grow, then you should be showing your mess ups and where you went wrong. That way they don't run into the same shit. Or if they do, then they can be like, oh shit, okay, I'm at with this. You know what I mean? Like, I can do this. Or let me check this out. Maybe this will be a good route. Like, I mean, I don't know. It's just I feel like you shouldn't sugarcoat it.
Exactly.
That's like
real.
It's just, yeah, keep it real, 100%. But the problem is you get wrapped up with sponsors and shit, and they don't want you to show bad. And I'll just say it because that's real. And I'm not gonna change. I'm not gonna change now. So, but like they want you to focus on highlighting product and making it to be the best it can be. Yeah, you can have some great equipment, but if you don't know how to grow, or you haven't ran into certain circumstances that you're gonna come across along the way that are gonna cause you problems, then it doesn't matter how much equipment you got. It doesn't matter how expensive it is. It just matters that you know how to deal with it in the moment. So I should be able to show you.
That's my opinion. The best piece of equipment a grower can have is knowledge. You could have the best light, $1,000, $1,200 light, or have AC Infinity out or whatever. Spend all the money on it. But if you don't have the knowledge, you can't apply anything to it. I mean, you're basically setting yourself up for failure from the beginning.
Yeah, and that's the whole hype around growing that gets me. I see a lot of people ask me, how do I get this $1,000 light or the 1,000-watt light? And I'm like, dude, you don't need it. Can I be totally real? I'll be totally real. I've got commercial grade grow lights that I run in my garden. I don't even crank them up. Half the time they're at 50% or less, to be honest with you.
And say I'm right.
Go
ahead.
Still get that kind of production out of the plant. I'm dropping almost a pound on a plant almost every time.
And say I'm running just the normal Mars Hydro FCE 4800, I believe. And I've got it, and both my 5x5s. I've got some other lights that are industrial grade. I don't like them because they produce a lot of heat. So I went to the bar style Mars Hydro, and it doesn't pull as much power. I think it's 400 watts altogether, somewhere around there. Don't quote me on it, but it's somewhere around there. And
it's 405.
And
somebody wanted to get into it, what would you suggest? Because obviously a lot of it comes to price, doesn't it? Like you say, everybody wants to have the best of the best. We have the same thing in mycology. Like everybody wants a flow hood, or everybody wants this because that's what's portrayed, that if you want the results, this is what you need. But in reality, you can do this stuff open air if you wanted to. I did it for a long time before I got my flow hood. So I would assume, obviously, weed growing, cannabis growing is the same principle. You can do it on a budget if you like.
And see, that's what me and Weepop was talking about the other day. Kind of like that aeroponic cloner I had that I made. It was literally made from a Walmart tub, a cricket can, and some straws from a couple Stanley cups. And it's actually working quite well. But as far as starting out, I wouldn't get the really expensive stuff. I'd start with like a small tent, like a 2x2 or a 3x3, and like a Mars Hydro TSW 1000, 2000, something like that, and do 1 or 2 plants and get your feet on you, because you're going to learn a lot in your first grow. Like, you're going to get discouraged and there's going to be hardships and all that, but it's also a learning process. And like I said, you could do that right there. The 3x3, a 4 to 6 inch duct fan, and all that. You might have, I don't know, what would you say, Weepop? Probably $500-$600 in a setup, if that.
I mean, if we're gonna do this, I might as well just say it, right? I am sponsored by Vivasum, and I'm not saying this just because I'm sponsored. I legit would swap everything out in my whole entire grow room for Vivasum equipment, which I know a lot of people are going to judge me for that, and I don't really care. You can get an entire grow kit from them for a 4x4 grow kit with the whole setup for under $700. You apply a discount code, you're running like right about $600, which is that's a complete setup. Netting, clippers, fans, duct, lights, the tent. I mean, I personally feel like you could go that route, and or even like you were saying, just get yourself a single LED light, put it in the corner and hang it. I mean, if you want to like control your terps and the scent in the house and duct it out and all that, then obviously you can go small and spend $300 to $500 or $600 and have yourself a complete setup ready to run. I mean, and that's not that bad when you actually look at the overall pricing of it for what you're going to benefit. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't think it's that bad just for the therapy side of it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You pay more for a
mean,
therapy and medication in the long
yeah.
run than you would for the team and the setup.
I mean, you're spending what, 150, 200 bucks an hour for a therapist?
Uh-huh.
I mean, and it's on the cheap side. Like, so, so you invest in yourself a little bit, and like you could have your own therapy sessions any time of the day you wanted to, and like have that connection. Like I just, man, I wish I could get people to see that. At least
And
try it.
the more you do it, the more your confidence builds, the more self-esteem you have in yourself. When you see your own progression, like starting out from the bottom, having issues and this, that, and the other, and work yourself up. Once you notice that progression, it kind of changes your mindset a little bit. You get more confident in yourself and your abilities.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it changes your whole view, like all the way around.
And you kind of touched Big Canna earlier. I'm not going to name drop, but I worked for a Big Canna for a little over a year. I started out as a trimmer, and I will say that is terrible. If you don't like trimming, which I already didn't like it, that's what I hired in to do. Dude, like 8 hours a day of trimming. It sucked, but I worked my way up from there to a cultivation technician, which is a state certified grower. And I did that for the majority of the time I was there. But I realized that a lot of the product that was coming out of there, by the time it made it to the dispensary, the numbers had been changed. And like, say it tested at 22% THC, by the time it made it to the shelf, it was almost 30. But I know what it was because I was the one that helped grow it. And then they would send it out, and then we would have quarterly meetings and go over everything and see the paperwork and all that. And and they would show us the numbers. And then, like I said, by the time it made it to the shelf, it was way higher than what it was when we grew it. So I don't like that. That's false information. That's not right. That's lying to the public. That's lying to consumers. So I got out of Big Canna and just started back doing it myself again.
Yeah, we've been talking about schooling. Like I kind of wanted to go into botany just so I could like have a deeper understanding of the plants and stuff. Because I don't, you guys probably don't know this, but I'm super in depth. I like to analyze everything, and I'm a functioning person. Like I want to know how things work and why they work. So I was looking at going in for botany and all that good stuff, but I mean, the reality is the time and money I'd put into that. I mean, and the cannabis businesses where they're at now, it's already semi flooded. Everybody and their mom's gonna want to do it. I mean, I'd rather just open my own dispensary and or my own medical center so I could grow my own, which is kind of one of my lifelong dreams. And I've been in the works trying to figure out a way to get to that, which we've got a couple of people that are interested in investing, but it's a risky move when you pick up and move your whole family for a business dream, you know what I mean, without solidity. So, but ultimately that's my goal. I would love to grow medical and then sell the dispensaries, and that way I don't got to deal with the shops and all that BS. But like you can still reap the benefits from growing and all that good stuff. So I think on a higher scale of growth, that would be an epic move. And I would love to get up and go to work every day.
And see, how do you feel about the seed ban in November?
I mean, I'm not too happy about it. It's gonna suck.
Yeah.
I realize it's probably a regulations thing, right? So every move they make is obviously about some sort of control, so that way they can regulate it. It's the same thing as in my state with the governor. She's just trying to take control of this so she can maximize the most amount of money and tax the shit out of everything, which is basically what I think federally they're going to try to do. So it sucks getting bans like that, but in the same breath, it also is a good sign because that means that changes are coming very soon. It's just a matter of when.
Yep, they finally took it serious.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, it sucks. Which, like I tell everybody, if you got a chance, stockpile.
Well,
I mean, do it now so you can get ahead of the program. That way, in case it takes a while to get implemented, then you're covered. You know what I mean? Or find you a breeder that's off the market and you don't got to stress about. You could go that route too. You know what I mean?
see, that's like me. Like I said, I'm not gonna name drop, but me and the other guys, we got together behind the scenes, and I'm very very appreciative of them. They bought genetics, and keep in mind they're Myco guys, and they bought genetics and some to keep for themselves, and old stock seeds and all that they had themselves. They kept what they wanted and sent the rest to me, and we're going to work on a reversal project. That way, before the ban hits, if anybody needs anything, we can take care of them, do raffles, giveaways, whatever, Platy about that, and try to keep the community going.
Yeah, hell yeah. I obviously have quite a bit of stockpile too. I'd like to throw in on that and help y'all out too. So,
that's great.
I think it's amazing what you guys got going on here in the Discord. I'm not gonna lie, like I've been in a couple different Discords along the way, and your guys' group is amazing. I realize everybody, is most of the people in your Discord are on a different path as far as not doing cannabis, but none of them is throwing shade my way or anything, which I think is crazy cool. But I've gone back and read a lot of y'all's conversations, and I'm like, man, you guys are like super close, which is awesome. And I'm glad that I was invited to join y'all because your guys' group has been great support for me and helping me light that fire back under my ass to get myself going on the YouTube channel. Yeah. I know you were there chatting with me the other night, and so you know what I'm talking about. But I lost my insight because the ban, age restrictions for the videos, I mean, it's stupid that farmers got that much grip on YouTube that they're not letting shit go out for cannabis. But you can turn around and make a freaking video on how to cook meth to the molecular level, and that gets fucking 1 million views. Dude, are you kidding me? That is insane. Insane.
My theory on that is big pharma does not want cannabis to be legal because how can they make money off of somebody that can treat their illness or whatever it may be at home, growing their own thing, whether it be cannabis or Myco or whatever. Big pharma is losing money, and you know how they are. They don't want to lose money.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Money grab.
When you were saying about you lost interest in to light a fire back underneath you, is that because of the platform that you was on and the problems you get with YouTube?
Yeah. I mean, so like I said, I was dealing with depression a little bit because of losing my mom and stuff, and we lost a bunch of family members. I mean, it's been a rough couple of years for us. We're just kind of at that age where the people we love and care about are starting to, it's just their time. But it's still rough, obviously, losing anybody you really care about.
Cool, yeah.
But at the same time, the platforms and YouTube changed, and they started age restricting videos, which I know you've probably seen a bunch of content creators bitching about it. They will mark it as not made for kids alone, but just because it has a thumbnail showing pot on it, it's classified as borderline against their guidelines. So they age restrict it, and even half of your subscribers that have their notification bell put on won't even get notified that you dropped the video. So then you're spending all this time recording, documenting, going through and dealing with your edits, dealing with adding your music. I mean, you could spend hours dealing with this. And then like you turn around and you're looking for like to help people and reach people, and then all of a sudden it's like age restricted. Oh, you don't even get 1,000 views when you got 8,000 subscribers. Like, what kind of shit is that? You know what I mean? like, I don't know. And then like obviously, I kind of chatted with y'all about this before, in the Discord with the sponsors. Like, it's not about making money, but it does help the channel when you have sponsors and you got all the electricity and the genetics and the soil and the nutrients you're paying for. I mean, like that stuff does add up, especially when you're running consecutive runs and trying to run a perpetual grow. Like that shit stacks up quick. Your water bill, your electricity bill. I mean, like it's actually financially, it can be a lot if you're growing a lot of different things, like a few different things at one time. You know what I mean? So if you got a sponsor, but you've got agreement with them to hit a certain amount of views before you can even collect anything, you know, if it's age restricted, nobody's going to see it and you're not going to hit your mark. So any little bit of bonus that you got coming in to help you offset that expense, you're just eating it. Like, which it sucks. So it's defeating, and it's like, man, it's just pot. Like I don't understand.
Into what it is that you can actually put out to get the views. So you're going to spend a lot, rather than building a community or a base, you're actually just wasting or not wasting your time, but you're putting your efforts into an area where you could be better spent.
Yeah, I mean, like I don't know. Everybody's talked to me about getting my own Discord and stuff. Look, I'm gonna be real. I'm not a tech guy. I don't know shit about none of that. This has been a transition alone for me, but like, I want to help people more than anything. I don't care about the money. I don't care about getting famous. I don't care about followers in the sense of I want 250,000 followers by next year. Like, I literally just want to help people any way that I possibly can.
Exactly.
And that really, that's what it comes down to. Like, period. And I get mad when I can't get a video out, because I get a lot of people that pop on there and they say, man, thanks. I've been fighting with this in the grow room for months and I almost quit, and seeing this is going to help me. And then they email me back and they're like, damn, it fixed it. Thank you. You know, like, and that's my joy from the time I put into it.
And see, with him saying that he wants to help people, I can back him there, because when I started looking for content creators to try to get the podcast going, I went to several different ones, numerous ones, and they don't have any contact info whatsoever on there. I went to his page. There's his email right there. Like, if you have any questions, need any tips, or this, that, and the other, hit me up in my email. And I literally, he's going to laugh at this one. I literally wrote Weepop at like 2:30 in the morning, and I was like, hey, I'm so and so, part of Discord and this, that, and the other, and we're trying to get the cannabis side to grow a little bit and all that. Would you be interested in joining, or at least doing a podcast or something like that? And I'll be honest, I didn't expect to hear anything back from him. Like, he's a content creator. I'm just a normal dude. And I didn't think I would hear anything. Within about 10 minutes, he wrote me back and he was like, yes, sir. I'm down for it. We can do this and this. I woke my wife up. I was like, holy shit, he actually responded.
No, man, when you said that in your email, you were like, dude, I appreciate you taking the time. I was like, man, I try to tell you, I'm a normal dude too. Like, I get up every day. I go to work. Like, the content side of things is literally something I do on my free time, or at the end of the day when I'm just in the garden dealing with stuff. Like, I don't see myself as any different as anybody else, man. Like, I got the same struggles everybody else goes through. My bills struggle sometimes. Like, I mean, I don't see myself as special just because I'm a YouTuber. That's actually one of the jokes I got with my oldest son and my nephew. I'll talk shit to them. I'm like, you can't talk to me like that. I'm a YouTuber, and they die laughing because they know I'm joking. Oh man, that's funny.
But yeah,
I like it.
Being humble about it, that's good. But you also have to realize just how many people you really touch and that you really teach and all that. Because like when I come across you, like I said, most content creators only show the good. Like when I come across you, I was like, man, look at him. Like the first time I watched you, I was like, man, look at him. He shows the good, the bad, and the ugly. I watched one video, which turned into another, which turned into another, which turned into another. And I've probably watched all your content so far. But that's what I appreciate about you. You're humble and you're genuine.
Well, I appreciate hearing that. Honestly, the support's awesome. I'm glad it's not going to waste, and I'm never gonna lie about anything. I'm gonna keep it 100% real, and I promise, even if I end up hitting 100,000 eventually in my lifetime, I'm still gonna keep it real. Like I'm probably gonna piss some people off here in the next month. I got a seed to harvest video that I'm gonna drop, and they are not gonna be happy with it, but it's real. I mean, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't want to really put it out there right now, but like, if you're gonna send me a product, I'm gonna be real. Like, and if it doesn't work the way you say it's gonna, I'm gonna let everybody know about it.
Is that the one that you were talking to me about?
Yes.
Okay. I got you.
Yes.
I'm tracking.
Yeah. like, man. I mean, look, I managed to somehow save the harvest. I got some great smoke out of it and some good medicine. But I went through some hell getting it transitioned over mid-flower, right at the beginning of flower, and I was pretty upset. It took them 4 months to send me the piece that I needed.
Wow.
And I was like, no, hell no. I can't support that. Exactly. Like, I don't want people out there that I'm trying to send to like a cost-effective place. Like, if you're gonna have me promoting your product for people to buy, they need to know reality, what they're getting into. And that's honest to God truth. Like, and hate me or not, I don't even care. Like, you can get pissed all you want. I'm gonna say it how it is, and if you don't like it, unsubscribe and block me. I mean, I don't care. I don't think new growers should have to go through the headache of that. You know what I mean? You got enough on your plate trying to learn.
Yeah, if you're new to growing and obviously they're coming to you for advice, and then you're sending them to somebody that's going to take 4 months to send them or replace anything, and
right, like
you're doing is dragging out their time in learning and their time in actually getting results.
Yes. So why would I frustrate that any further than you're already going to be stressing about doing everything right in the garden? And then on top of that, you got to deal with some equipment failures that are not worth it, in my opinion. Like, I don't know. Like, it's just, I'm not the type to do that. I don't care if it loses me sales or not. That's not what I'm after. Like I said, I'm grateful for the income when I do get my little commission check, if I get one. But at the same time, like, I'm not gonna promote a product that's not gonna help anybody. Like, I won't.
I mean, that'd be like
from everybody else. I was just saying that's what's going to set you apart from everybody else, because you can have. I find it, especially in the mushroom side. I'm not too sure on the weed side, but the ego becomes too much, and then eventually all they're looking for is profit, and they're no longer helping anybody. So they all start off helping, trying to build a channel or trying to build a community, but in the end, the profit or the money is all that's seen. So I think that's what out from everybody else. You're going to be real and say, I wouldn't do this, or I would do this, or this is what happened, rather than feeding somebody a load of bullshit so that you can get a check at the end of it.
Right. Like, I'm not going to lie. I'm going to keep it 100% real. I'll go a little bit more in depth, but I was stoked to try the product. I was excited when I got it. I set it up. I ran everything. It seemed a little bit of chintzy to me as far as the product that was sent to me. I was a little concerned in the beginning. Communication was great to start with, and then it just tailed off. And then when I had the problem, they responded right away, said they sent me the thing, but it took, like I said, 4 months to come to me. Like, I don't care who you are. You shouldn't be trying to worry about a bottom line, especially if you're really if your heart's in the right spot and you're really trying to help people, then the money shouldn't come into key play. And that was something that I had a conversation with my son about, because I caught myself getting disappointed because the views weren't there, because I started to worry about the views clicking so I could get the money for it. And I'm like, dude, that is not, and he's told me, he's like, Dad, that's not why you started this. You got to remember that. And I was like, you know what, bud, you're right. I mean, 100%. Like, stay true to myself, stay true to everybody else that's out there, and just keep it real.
So we had a message. Uh, they're wanting to know about the basics of growing and what kind of soil and nutrients are needed to start out as a new grower. What would you prefer?
So simplistic style, and a cheap way to go is see, I don't know what everybody has around there. You guys are like based in the UK, right?
I'm in,
It's all across the. To be fair, there's a couple of people from, I think, like Europe.
Okay.
Got us in the UK. Got some US guys in there. So yeah, it's a bit of a mix. I think even Switzerland, Sweden.
Oh dang. Okay, sweet. Okay, so around here in the US, what I found was Pro Mix offers gardening blend at like Home Depot or Lowe's. It comes pre-amended with lime, and so that way it kind of neutralizes it. You know, it's got a little bit of nitrogen in it, mycorrhiza for your starting out. I get the pack for like $19. It covers, what is it, 2 cubic feet or 3 cubic feet in the press pack. It's $19. I started off with Down to Earth, which is at pretty much any local gardening supply center.
Believe it or not,
you can
Walmart now.
I was gonna say you can even get it at Walmart, and it's super cheap. So I mean, the Pro Mix, and if you get, I like running Gaia Green. Yes. As far as if I don't have to focus on it because I'm a busy guy with the company and like being a contractor, I don't have a lot of time to be at home dealing with nutrients every day or every other day and like all that. So I prefer Gaia Green. I initially start my blends at 50 and 50, 50% of the 284 and the 444. And I base that off of how many gallons of soil I'm using. So if you're running a 10-gallon pot, you're going to run 50% of that volume, which is 5 gallons. And then you figure how many tablespoons, that's 3 tablespoons
15
per gallon. So you're doing 15 tablespoons of 444, 15 tablespoons of 284. Throw yourself in a cup or two of worm castings, add a little bit more of the perlite, and blend it up, let it sit for a couple of days and cook. And then put your plant in there and roll. And then every 3 weeks you're just top dressing. And it'll get you all the way through the grow. Yep. Until you go into flower. I switch it up there. I run 70% 284 and I do 30% of the 444. That way I got plenty of potassium and phosphates for the flowering phase, because it obviously starts up taking that more. And then the only other secret ingredient I ever use, which it's not even a secret ingredient because I put it out there in a video. If I see my stem starting to purple out, I run a little bit of Epsom salt in my water and water. and I'm done.
Yep. That's the same thing I do.
And to me, that's the easiest, most simplified way of running a base soil that you can not spend a lot of time dicking with and having to stress out about it. Other than that, I pH my water down, which technically, if you're running living soil and running 284 and 444, if you have an actual living soil, you don't need to worry about pH. But doing it in Pro Mix and Cocoa, I would definitely advise you to pH your water down and keep it in the range there, 5.8 to, I don't know, I usually bounce it up between 5.8 and 6.5, 6.7 max, and then water throughout the grow like that. And I run it to a little bit of runoff. I don't like do 10% extra or anything. I just make sure the soil is good and soaked. Let it run for a couple of days, go back in, and I watch the plant. If it starts drooping on me, I know it's time to water. I water it back out. And sometimes if I know it's been like an entire day, I'll throw a little recharge in there and hit it. That way I know the microbial life activates again, and I don't have to stress about it, because that's the hard part about dry amendments, is worrying about the time at which it takes to start breaking it down with the microbial life that's in the soil. So if you're running in Pro Mix, something that I learned in a lot of these runs is the longer your soil's there, the less probability your microbial life's going to stay active. So you got to add some sort of stimuli for microbial life, macro and micro newts and all that. If you're not doing that, your grows are going to end up fading out early, have nutrient uptake issues. It'll start looking like you got pH problems, when ultimately it's not that. It's just not able to pick up nutrients because they're not being broke down in the soil and made ready for the plant.
I agree. That's how I run mine. I run 5-gallon pots, and I run the Pro Mix BX. I'll add a little bit of perlite, and like you said, I'll do the 15 and 15. And I've never really had a problem with it or anything. Like you said, when it gets further along in the flower, I'll swap it up and increase the flower side and decrease the veg side and all that. And I've never really had a problem with it. Now with cocoa, my personal issue was my pH, which I got it lined up because I've always been a soil guy. I've always been an organic guy. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna try, cocoa this run, and that's what I have my plants in there now in is cocoa. And I realized there's a big difference between soil and pH. Our soil, like my soil, the way I look at it is, if I can, whenever I pH my water, I keep it between 6.0 and 6.5, and I've never had any issues with it. Now with the cocoa, I run it a little lower, like a 5.8 to a 6.1, and that kind of leveled my plants out a little bit and all that. It was a learning process. So touching back to the message that we got a minute ago, like if you're starting out, I agree with Weepop 110%. Like living soil would be the easiest way to go, because all you have to do is basically mix your amendments with your soil and let it cook for a couple days, and then you're go. And then basically you just feed once a month. You come back top of the soil and water in. Now how I try to do mine, I do it on the 1st of every month. That way I know, okay, so May 1st, I know I've got to feed, and so on and so forth. That way I can keep a pretty regular schedule. I know on the 1st of every month it's got to be fed, and it's basically just a water and watch type situation. It's, in my opinion, it's the easiest way to go for a new grower.
100%. I think that the only reason why I do it every 3 weeks, obviously, you said you're running 5 gallons. I'm running like 20 and 15 and 20, 15 to 25 gallon pots. So I grow one large plant in each tank most of the time, and I'm covering a lot more foliage from one root system. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like I noticed that I was having uptake issues, or a point at which I was running out of nutrients. So I shifted it back a week, and that gave it 5 days or so to start breaking down the new stuff that I inputted in. And I haven't had a problem since.
Yeah.
So we
And
had
so,
another
oh, go ahead.
saying, it was saying, what's the solution for stimulating microbial life? When you mentioned it earlier.
If you want to do it naturally, worm castings and molasses.
The sugars.
Yep, blackstrap molasses. Obviously, you don't want to use like unrefined 100% molasses because that will cause you some problems. But like you use molasses, that those sugars help the microbial life stay alive. They start breaking down, and you incorporate the microbial life using the worm castings or whatever castings you're going to use. Like you could use bat guano. I've seen people use cow manure. I mean, obviously, it's kind of a preference on what you want to deal with as far as smells go when you're in your garden. I personally use worm castings because it's a little less offensive to the family when I'm in there.
Also, I've seen people run chicken manure, but you've got to be careful with the chicken manure. Burn the mess out of your plants.
Yeah, it's hot. It's very hot. I mean, and that stuff is like super quick for uptake. It's pretty much watered down to begin with, so it'll burn the mess out of them. I ran into that on my outdoor last season. Actually, that was part of it. Plus, we had I put it too close to the pond down there, and it was way too wet. Again, a transitioning from the Midwest to the East Coast soil, which I'm not used to. But this year, I'm stoked. I made some changes, and I'm excited to get that rolling and start getting that series going so everybody can see the outdoor side. But yeah, I mean, as far as it goes, growing wise, there's the simpler you can make it, the better.
I look
People
at it.
they overthink it too much. There's so much knowledge out there right now, as far as videos, Google, mid-range growers that have been growing for a year or two and have had some good runs, and they feel like, this and that works. Like, I understand you've had a couple good runs, and I'm not talking crap to anybody or downplaying anybody by any means, but like it seems like everybody that I deal with on that level tends to over process things. And like new growers coming in that have never grown before or are on their first run, don't overthink it. Like it's a weed. It's gonna grow. And you're gonna learn along the way what kind of signs to look for. I mean, there's so many variants to it that you can't really focus on one set process that's gonna get you there. But if you start simple and keep it simple, what do they say? Keep it simple, stupid. Like,
I was just going to say,
yeah, like that is a legitimate thing. Like the easier you make your life as far as starting growing, the better off it is. Then slowly start incorporating new stuff. Like that's something that I would really want to stress to people. like just keep it simple.
Somebody said is there any ratio specifically that you would use?
What's that?
Is there any ratio specifically that you use? I suppose when you was talking about the fertilizer.
Oh, I mean, honestly, I kind of use a bunch of things like along the way. There's kind of a lot to that. Are they running indoor? Are they going outdoor?
They've just said on there, so worm castings, molasses, what sort of tablespoons per gallon of soil?
Oh, one total.
Yep.
So every gallon, you're going to put 1 tablespoon. What I like to do is I'll put a pot on the stove and warm it up. And then I'll spoon it out 1 and up to, like, if I know I'm putting it in a 5-gallon pail, I'll put 5 tablespoons in there and warm it up so it actually blends up real nice. and then I'll let it cool off a little bit, and then I'll go dump it in my 5-gallon pail and mix it up. Make sure to check your temps so you don't overheat the soil. But running about 75 degrees or so on your watering is a good place to be. You don't want it too cold, but you definitely don't want it too hot because you'll actually kill your microbial life.
And then there's
Or
all
shock
compost. Like I'll run compost teas every once in a while, which if I see something that needs rest, some kind of deficiency or something like that, before I start hammering it with nutrients, I'll brew up a compost tea, which I'll take I'm big on Guy Green myself. I'll take the 444, the 284, and like he said, add the molasses to the water, and I'll put it in. It's gonna sound kind of janky, but I put it in a cheesecloth and tie it up with a bread tie, and put it in a 5-gallon bucket and let it hang off the handle and put an aeration stone in there and let it aerate for a little while. And then I'll go and do a compost, which that can revitalize them pretty quick too if you catch it quick enough.
Yep, absolutely. That ain't cheesy, man. Oh man, no, that's funny. Actually, that's I got like 6 packs in the closet. I use them all the time. That was funny you said that. I was being corny. No pun intended, but there was.
But yeah. So I'm trying something new on my next run. I've actually been diving pretty deep into Terra Preta, and if you don't know what Terra Preta is, it's Amazonian black dark earth, and basically what it was, the Amazon rainforest is not good for cultivating crops, and it's a man-made soil where they mix animal manure, human manure, pottery, and biochar and plant matter and all that, and basically let it cook. And they've been doing it for thousands and thousands of years. And they're actually, I hate to say it because they're cutting down some of the rainforest, which is not a good thing in my opinion, but they're finding more and more of these mounds. And when they dig down, it goes like 6 to 10 feet, if not farther, down to where they were growing crops. And basically, it's like a super soil. And I actually found some online, and I'm gonna run it with my Pro Mix BX and all that, and see how that works out. I'm the type, like, I found a good system, but if I can sit there and minimalize it as much as I can, basically keeping it simple, if I can mix that in with my soil, that right there will take a lot off of me, because they can sit there and feed off the Terra Preta. Because I was reading a thing, I think it was 1 cup of Terra Preta has enough nutrients to activate an entire tennis court, basically the size of a tennis court. And whenever you mix it with your other soil, basically it supercharges it and brings it to life even more, and basically brings it to the same level as the Terra Preta. And it's supposed to be super, super good for microbial life, good for plants and all that. So I'm gonna do a little run of it and see what happens. If it works out good, I mean, I'll probably keep running it. I found a pretty good deal on Etsy, believe it or not. I think I give like $54 for 3 pounds, which is the homestead pack. And I'm gonna try it and see how it works out. Do you know anything about it?
I do not. When you mentioned it the other day in the Discord, that was the first time I had heard of it. I did kind of research it a little bit this week while I was working till 9-10 o'clock every night. But it's basically what I found. And if people are looking to not go that kind of expense, you can use biochar, and it basically will help you with the same sort of stimuli for the microbial life.
Uh-huh.
I'm not saying you're wrong. You should run it. I'm excited to see what's going to happen there. But obviously biochar is way cheaper than going that route.
Yeah.
And they can actually like blend that up and mix it into their soil blend, and it's going to give them that enrichment that they are referencing with what you're talking about.
Uh-huh.
So I'm excited. Like, I want to see the updates on your grow because the nutrient level that they have stated is in that is unreal.
I'm trying
I
to
mean,
find.
like, unreal.
Here it is. It's hardwood biochar, comfrey, nettle, kelp meal, worm casting, sorghum molasses, mineral dust, and of course got the biochar in it. So I'm
Yeah, yeah. So like and that's kind of what, based on the research I did, which is what you just covered. That's very similar to what I run because I actually use rock dust. I've used several different kinds, but Gaia Green has it, so I'll use rock dust in my mix. I'll use obviously the 284 and the 444. I'll put biochar chunks in your soil, in the pro mix. And then I run a little bit of alfalfa meal, which is a great source of nitrogen for your plants. And a lot of people don't even know that. And you can get that shit dirt cheap. I mean, dirt cheap. They sell it pellets, like even at local grow stores, like Build a Soil sells it. And you could just order a whole bag of that. That shit will last you almost a year. Because you're only adding like a quarter cup of that to the mix. But that is a long-term breakdown of nitrogen throughout the entire run, and running that in like a living soil would be epic. So definitely I would love to see what happens with that, and I'm intrigued. So,
yes, sir.
so I want to see the updates on that for sure.
Yes, sir. I'm trying to think. Anything else we need? What about germination? What is your best way to germinate?
A lot of people think I'm crazy. I use distilled water. I'll drop it in a shot glass. I'll put a few drops of peroxide in it, and that way I'm not dealing with any like outside sources as far as contaminants and stuff. And I put it in a dark corner or up in my cupboard for a day or two. Come back and check it after about 30 hours, and usually every single one pops. I mean, it's so simple. I've seen a lot of people struggle with it, but I think that's just because they drop it in straight water and leave it, which it can take up to 5 days to crack the shell. The peroxide actually is slightly acidic, so it helps open the shell up and allows the germination process to begin a little faster and easier for the seedlings that you're putting in there.
I will name drop this one. Transient. I actually got with him, and I looked into the CannaPod, and the guy that created it, he ended up selling out and went to a bigger company, and they started producing it and charging a lot more. It was like $60, $70 for the can by itself, and I'm like, I'm not paying that. And anyways, I got with Trans, or actually Trans and Platy, as a matter of fact, and they found the PDF file or whatever, and he printed it out for me, and I've actually had 100% germination rate with it. Basically what I do, and I'm a cheap, frugal kind of guy, so you have to have the little filters for it. I went to Walmart and the 3.75 natural unbleached coffee filters, and I cut the round piece out of the bottom, poke a hole in the center of it, and it fits perfectly. You fill it up with water. It's got individual channels, and you let them soak for however long. And then, which I normally do anywhere from 18 to 24 hours, somewhere around there, and they generally pop. And I put them on a heat mat, obviously, and keep it at 75 degrees. But you soak them in the water, and then you pour some of it out, or if you want to, you can pour it all out and add more distilled water. And like you said, starting out, do the peroxide.
Yeah.
But and then after you refill it, after you pour everything out, and you don't want to fill it all the way back up. Basically, it's kind of like an oven. The moisture and the heat kind of circulates on the inside of it. And I've had wonderful germination rates with it, and I didn't pay him but like $15.
Yeah, hell yeah. I stress to everybody that asks, because like I get a lot of questions about cloning too. And I'm like, dude, if you just get some plugs, right? You don't even have to buy like rock wool. You just get regular plugs. Q plugs is what I like because I run in soil and the Pro Mix, obviously. But you literally like cut your clones, put them in the rooting gel, throw them on your heat tray, and put a heat mat under it. You don't have to have anything other than that and a little bit of light. Like you could simplify the mess out of it, but everybody struggles with it. And I'm like, man, it's really not that. It's not bad. I don't know if it's because they don't trim the leaves down or what, but like, the heating mat is great for seedlings and clones. It's like a must, in my opinion.
And say I started out doing the rock wool cubes with clones. I had okay success rate with it, not great, but not bad. I'd call it marginal. And then I got the rapid rooter plugs, and they did fairly well. They did good. I would have to say I have better results out of that homemade aeroponic cloner.
Yeah, that thing's turned out great, man. That was an awesome setup.
Like I was sitting there one night and I was just scrolling through watching videos on YouTube, Canna videos, and I come across actual, I'll be honest, it was the AC Infinity aeroponic cloner. And I got to looking at how it went together, and I'm like, dude, I can make that at my house for a little bit of nothing. I literally have $2 invested in it because I bought a pool noodle from Dollar General for $2. Other than that, I had everything around the house, and the majority of them in there, their roots are anywhere from 8 to 12 inches long right now. They're ready to go in the soil.
Hell yeah, that's awesome. I'm glad to see that thing worked out great. That's a really good cost-effective way to do it and not struggle. You know what I mean? Trying to buy the kits and all that good stuff. And them noodles would keep the cost down for sure.
Mm-hmm. And let's see, what else was it? I had a question I was going to ask you, but I can't remember.
My bad. I got to rattling.
Oh, you're good. That's my mind. I'm getting older. Harder for things.
Messages. That was the link to the CannaPod where Trance done the video for you.
Let's see.
CannaCan. Sorry, the CannaCan.
Do what, Platy?
Yeah, so the CannaCan Pablo was about, or Vanilla was talking about. I just put it in the messages, the link to it, so you could see it. It was what Transient printed for him.
And I tell you, it works absolutely amazing.
Oh, hell yeah. That's awesome.
I think let's see, I probably popped about, I would say probably 10 to 15 seeds in it so far, and every one of them germinated. Every one did good. Every one of them went in the soil.
And then what was that you've asked me to print out for you?
Okay, so I've got the 8-pot auto pot system with the 25-gallon flexi tank, and if anybody's ever ran an auto pot system or been around them, basically the pot's inset into the base, and you're stuck with whatever pot that you order. So you got like the 6.6 gallon or the 3.9, and I got the 3.9 and all that. I was wanting to run a bigger pot and stick with my fabric pots. So I don't know if anybody's ever heard of him, but Hi Again on YouTube, he has a 3D printer, and he was actually leaving for Spanibus in Spain, and they were trying to figure out how they were going to water all their plants. And he 3D printed that base. Basically, what it is, it inserts into the base where the 3.9 gallon pot would be. And you take cotton string, like you would from a self-watering base, and run it through the holes, and you set your fabric pot on top of it. And allows it to keep doing like the self-watering base. And it constantly has the water and all that. And I can run a bigger pot. In theory, in my theory rather, the bigger the root, the bigger the fruit. So going from a 3.9 to a 5, that gives me more space in my pot for a bigger root system.
100%. Yeah. That's something that I keep trying to stress to people too. Like if you are looking for bigger buds, basically, right? Your root zone is essential. Like if you don't have the space in your pots, like don't get me wrong, you can grow some fantastic plants out of a 3-gallon pot all day long. But like if you're trying to maximize your colas and make them bigger as far as it goes, then you need a little more room for your roots to grow, because that shifts everything for you. Like there's more for uptake, there's more water supply, nutrients, obviously, like it oxygen. I mean, all of it. Like it makes a huge difference. So if you've been growing a little bit and want to get to a next level type thing, that's one of those keeping it simple things that I'm talking about. Make a small shift in your pot size, go a little bit bigger than what you do. Like some of my better runs have come out of 7.5 gallon pots. Like I did a whole 4x4 run of 4 Blue Dreams, and it was one of the best runs that I've had. And I went with 4 7.5 gallon pots under my Mars Hydro 4800, and that was it was an impressive run. It like really showed out for me.
For new growers, how do you like where do you top at on your plant if you top and LST?
Well, I mean, I typically like to scrog or use nets personally for my training, because like I said, I do larger plants, so like I like to run double net systems, and that way I've got support on the stretch. But again, I'm learning just like everybody else throughout these runs. I never focus so much on my par readings and keeping things like set at a certain level, so that way the stretch wasn't so bad. If I top, it's because I am LSTing out and want my sides to come up. Because when you actually top your plants, you're shifting the hormones for the other nodes to stress themselves out and manipulate them, and they're growing to reach the top to be the number one. So, and that's something else that I try to make sure I tell people, like, that's literally a manipulation. That's all you're doing to the plant. You're just trying to manipulate it into doing what it needs. So if you can get a hormone shift for growth and just top your main, if it's 6 or 8 inches taller than everything else, if you top it, it's going to make everything else try to shoot up, which will give you a more even canopy when you're running your grows.
And see, that's what I like to do. Which I have a multiple plant run every time I do it, anywhere from 5 to 7 around there. And so what I typically do is I'll let them grow, and I top at the 5th node, and then the lateral branching, like I'll either net it or use LSD clips or something like that, and fold my lateral branching out. Now with doing that, with that being said, whenever you do that, you have to do it while it's in veg, because the branches are malleable and all that. It's hard to do it when it starts to go into flower and all that, because your branches start to stiffen up and get thick and prepare to be able to hold the weight of the flower. But I'll and take my lateral branch and I'll run it out mainly. Like I've got one in there now with the Coca Snowstorm, and I'm very displeased with that run. So anybody's looking for seeds, I hate to knock a seed bank. Don't mess with new kids, because I have so many pheno differences between the 5 plants that are out there right now. I've got one that's trichomed out and beautiful, and then I've got one that's just now in pre-flower, and they were all with the flower at the same time. They've all get the same newts, same amount of light, same size pot, same medium, same everything, and I wasn't really happy with it. And then I've got some that are real short and squatty like an indica, and then I've got some that are super tall like a sativa. So I had to turn around and put the net up for to hold them up, because they're wanting to lean. But yeah, I typically top at the 5th node and spread out the lateral branch.
Yeah, mainlining has been a lot of people say don't mainline because it's too much time, doesn't give you what you're after, and you lose product, right? I prefer larger buds. Like, so if I can get rid of all the lower crap, that mainlining run I did on the Colombian, that turned out epic. Like, I was so excited and happy with the outcome of that. Like, it was man, like, I that's why I said I like netting, because it's a manipulation of the plant. So like you just said, you're trying to when the plant goes into flower, it's focusing more on like woodening up so it can support the weight of the flower. If you're running double nets, then you're supporting the main branch, but then you're also supporting the top buds. So it's going to consistently try to make the flowers bigger for you. And because it's not folding itself over or laying down. Because as soon as that starts happening, it bends to a certain degree, the plant stops production on that flower and tries to mature it instead of actually building it. Which is insane. So that's why I said, like, learning it's a process, but throughout the years you'll start picking up on things like that and making shifts in it. If I do topping, I just spend the top. I don't usually go too crazy. The shishka berry run that I did about 8 tops. I won't lie. This is kind of a spur of the moment thing, and I wanted the sides to grow up for me, so I topped all the tops and just LST'd out the other ones. And I did it probably 2 weeks before flower, and it's turning out great. So, that's what my answer would be. I mean, if you can LST from the very beginning, you should do it. Like, if you got the time to actually spend folding them over and spending the time in there after, work or whatever, then the more you do that, the more growth you're going to get, because you're opening up the side branches to allow them to come up and fight with that main stem.
How do you feel about monster cropping or re-vegging?
Well, things happen sometimes. I don't prefer to do it. Re-vegging is more, in my opinion, breeder side of things and better off for breeding. You can get some crazy product out of it. If you do a re-veg, your plant will explode once it actually goes to flower. But I don't know. Like I said, I run perpetual, so I try to avoid all that. but if I need to like finish out some lowers, yeah, all day, cut the tops off, let it ride.
And for anybody don't know what monster cropping or re-vegging is, basically you cut your main branches and you leave the lower buds like the large popcorn, and you put it back in an 18-6 schedule. You take it from flower back to 18-6, which is very, very hard on the plant. I'll be honest, it's very hard. And basically what it'll do from them buds, it will produce more branches and like that, and it'll go back into the vegetative state. And like Weepop said, it will go crazy. Like, you'll have growth with it, but a lot of time involved.
Yeah, a lot of time. Like, I mean, like it turns into a project, which is why, and I'm not against it by any means. Like I said, if you've got the room or the time you want to do it and you don't need the product like that because you don't use it on a daily basis or whatever, and you got enough out of it that you're going to be okay without it, then by all means, man, it's a really good way to go, because you can end up with some crazy flower out of it. And it's definitely worth it in that aspect. But I gotta be honest. Mama Bear is a avid smoker, so I can't hardly maintain with her, to be honest.
Mama Bear.
But it's worth it in the end, because man, that's her sanity, and I get it, and that's one of the things. Like, I get comments all the time about how I must be fried all the time. I'm like, if you all only knew, I don't even hardly smoke. Honestly, like I literally use it for pain, or if I'm in the right headspace, I'll come home and chill like on a Friday or Saturday and hang out. Or if I'm going golfing, I'll go. I'll burn one and go chill and like. But it's gotta be like the right time for me because I don't like smoking on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
I get too lazy. I won't lie, especially when I get couch locked, which is why I pull my plants a little bit earlier than most people. And that's another thing, like learning when to pull your plants, what kind of flower you like, you know.
Mm-hmm. Now, whenever you harvest, what percentage of amber do you prefer, if any?
Well, I usually take it at about 8 to 10%. And that's because I know that it's going to amber out more as it's curing. This is stemming from my first run indoor. Like I mentioned to you in the Discord the other day, I ran ayahuasca. I filled a whole 5x5 and I let it run 84 days and pulled it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so couch locked. Granted, the ayahuasca is 100% indica, so it's already going to dumb you down and promote couch lock to begin with. But like, I let it go like until like absolute longest time I could. Mm-hmm. And you smoke it, you're not doing shit. Like nobody, you know what I mean? Like, and the hybrids these days, there's so much crossing going on with breeds and stuff that it's hard to find a more sativa dominant plant. But when you do, it's like, you know, one of the things you want to focus on keeping if you can, because the uplifting side of it. But obviously they label them to tell you they're uplifting, but it really just depends on like when you pull them. So like most plants, I'll pull at 5 to 8%. It gives me more of the flavorful terp profile when we smoke, and it's more of an uplifting high versus a downer high, and that skunky flavor when you actually smoke.
When you say you harvest 5 to 10%, what does that actually mean? Like, I don't know anything about
when you go to crop your plant, right, and harvest, you check your buds with the microscope or, you know, jeweler's loop or whatever you use to check your trichomes. Yeah. People check their trichomes and they go through phases. So you got clear phase, and then you've got cloudy phase, and then you've got partial cloudy and amber. And you want to make sure that, like, a lot of people nowadays focus on a certain percentage of ambering through the whole plant versus like not just checking your top bud or whatever, like looking at your buds throughout the entire plant and seeing how many of those trichomes are at an amber phase. So if like 10% of it's about where you want to be, most people pull them. I'd say probably 10 to 20%. But yeah, like it's just an overall basis. If you want the truth, I don't hardly look at my trichomes. I tend to wait until I got about 80% red in my buds, and then I know it's pretty close to being ready.
And that can change the density of the smoke itself, so make it heavier, like you were saying, with it being an inch, by leaving it to that point, that stronger.
Yeah, it changes the way the cannabinoids break down and the level of high you get. So like if a plant's THC level is actually the highest when it's clear going to the cloudy part. So if you've ever smoked and gotten a super stimulated high and then get a headache, that's because it was probably clear in the trichomes when it was pulled versus it actually being finished out and cloudy, which is typically where a lot of people like to pull it, especially like for an uplifting high. But your terp profile changes also as far as flavors go, depending on what phase they're at, whether it's ambered or clear or combination of the two, if that makes sense.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Basically, when you look at the trichomes, it's going to look like a mushroom with a stalk and a cap on top. And like you were saying, you got clear, your cloudy, and your amber. Now, basically, when it goes from cloudy to amber, that is the THC degrading, and basically it becomes CBN. If I'm not mistaken, please correct me if I'm wrong. But but it turns to CBN, which gives you the couch lock. You know, you want to sit there and watch a movie and eat a bag of Cheetos, like you don't want to do a whole. Now, I'm kind of with him. I normally harvest anywhere from 5% because I want a little bit of the couch lock. See, I don't smoke every day. Well, I mean, I do smoke every day, but it's one time a day. Like I don't smoke all day every day. I come in, you know, relax, spend time with the kids, time with the wife, and all that. Get the kids down, get them to sleep, and then the wife will sit there and either pack a cone or something like that, and you know, sit there, smoke, relax, talk a little bit, and then lay down, and it helps me sleep at night because I'm a bad overthinker. So I prefer a little bit of couch lock and all that. That way it'll calm down and mellow me out, and I can really good and wake up the next day feeling refreshed.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, you're totally right.
It's
on the breakdown, you're right. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying, yeah, I had no idea that there was so much to it in the harvest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, you can simplify it. You know, if you're talking like simplified, if you see the hairs on the bud, they're curling back in and they're turning red on you, and you got about 80% of the plant at that phase, it's usually a good indication of when to pull it. Now, some strains though don't ever turn that ambery color on the buds. They just continue to produce, you know, white stigmas the whole way through, and you're like, wait a minute. But yeah, I mean, there can be a lot to it. Most of the time, once you get into it and you get to that harvest phase, the plant's going to show you when it's about done too. The leaves that start turning colors on you, fading out. They call it the fade at the end. That's something that a lot of people do. And like, I don't know, back when I was growing outdoor, we didn't have all that fun equipment. You just waited till the plant started to die out and checked it out and made sure you weren't growing fungus and having the bugs eat it up, and then you chopped it down and harvested. It's amazing how much stuff changes over time.
Mm-hmm. Another, like if you buy seeds from a seed bank or a breeder or anything. Now, this is from my personal experience. I'm not speaking for everybody, but like auto flowers in general. Okay, when you buy them, because I know a lot of the Myco guys and girls here in PT have gotten auto flowers. All right, whenever you look at your pack and it tells you, 70 days to harvest, don't ever listen to that because it could be a little sooner. Most of the time, in my experience, it's always a little after. So my general rule of thumb when it comes to autos is about 84 days. And that's kind of what I ran into to get, like I said, the 5 to 10% amber. But whenever you look at the pack, don't just automatically think, okay, 70 days. As soon as that's done, I'm going to go ahead and cut the plant down because it could not be ready.
Yeah, 100%. That's just a generalized guideline that they put on there for the sale of, so that way you kind of have an idea when to start looking at it being done. You know what I mean? Like I've had them marked to 60 days and they end up running 75 to 80. I mean, really, it's a conditional thing, in my opinion, based on how you're growing, what kind